Alrighty. So now I also want to note that we have two ASL interpreters with us today, Lucy and Bob. For our audience, you can pin their screens by hovering over their video. They have the names ASL Interpreter -Bob or -Lucy. So you'll want to go onto their screen and you'll click on the three dots that appear on the upper right corner. Click on those and then you'll see an option that says pin video. Unfortunately, I'll note that this option is only available when you're using the Zoom app. And in my experience, it's been best on computers and not on iPads and phones. So also Singha will be sharing her screen with us for some of the time. So I want to suggest that you use the side-by-side mode during that time so you can see both Singha and the interpreters. So that option becomes available once we begin screen sharing. What you'll do is you'll see a green tab that says you are viewing Singha's screen, and next to it, there'll be like a gray other tab, and there you can click view options. And then from there, you'll be able to scroll and choose side-by-side mode. Feel free to message anyone on tech support, including myself, if you have any questions. I know it's difficult to hear all these instructions. I know we're here for Qigong, but we're also learning some Zoom skills along the way. Next, I want to ask if we can all make the space more accessible together by turning off your video if you do have it on right now. For folks who are using our interpreters, this will allow them to then just see the interpreters and also our speakers today. So what you'll do is you can hover over anyone's video who's turned off. So say NISMA bracket tech support. From there, you'll see three dots. You'll click on those three dots again, and you can go down and choose the option hide non-video participants. So this will limit your view to everyone whose video is turned on, who would be our speakers and interpreters. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the team again. Next, I'll just be sharing our community agreements in the chat. These agreements will help guide us as we create a generative space to have conversations while recognizing that we all come from different places of knowing and growing. I want to flag one of our community agreements in particular, which is amplify what folks are saying during the conversation and in chats through words of encouragement and our reaction buttons. And I was wondering if we could take a moment to practice that. I know most folks' videos are turned off, so maybe just can we put some words of encouragement in the chat for our speakers and just welcome them and show our excitement for them. Yay, woohoo, awesome. Yay, awesome, thanks. So now is my pleasure to introduce our amazing sister duo, Singha and Lingji Hong. Lingji and Singha grew up in New York City, often visiting their grandmother in Chinatown. They were also raised practicing Tai Chi and Qigong since their home also served as their father's Qigong school. Our team will also be putting their website and social media links in the chat if you want to learn more about them. So now to go into some brief individual bios. I promise I'll stop talking soon. Lingji Han is a Berlin-based artist and native of New York City, the second daughter of Master Sa Chen Han and a lifelong student of the Dan Tao Center of New York. She has been leading regular Tai Chi Huang and Qigong classes and workshops in Europe and in the US since 2017. She works to transmit ancient healing wisdom to the next generation with an approach that is both anthropological and spiritual. Her next step is to deconstruct the patriarchal lineage of Tai Chi, Huang, and Qigong and uncover their roots as feminine arts. Singha Han is an artist and illustrator born and raised in New York City with roots in Pennsylvania in New York City's Chinatown. She is one of the founding illustrators for Womanly Magazine, an organization that provides accessible health information to women and non-binary people through visual and literary art. As a painter and illustrator, she creates work aimed at exploring inner thoughts and private experiences, combining small details of everyday life with images inspired by mythology and animal archetypes, weaving together the universal and the personal. Most recently, she has been involved with W.O.W. as the fourth artist in residence. Her residency, Changing Faces, was a multi-month exploration of identity, finding, creating, and removing masks. So now I'll hand it over to Lingji and Singha.
Thank you so much, Yuki. That was a wonderful introduction, and thank you all. Welcome to our workshop today. Before we get started, I did just want to take a moment to, again, thank you, Yuki, thank you, Lucy, thank you, Bob, thank you, the WOW team, and the WOW project for having us here, and also all of you for showing up on a mostly beautiful Saturday. I'm really excited for this presentation and to be a part of the anniversary fundraiser, and really excited to get to do this with my sister, who is all the way in Berlin, so that we get to connect New York City to Berlin. So I'm going to first start by giving an overview of what we're going to do today, so you can get sort of a sense of what the workshop will feel like. So I will share my screen. Oops. All right, so great. So in today's workshop, when we were invited to join the fundraiser, we really wanted to think about the theme of resiliency. It was really inspiring for us. So in our workshop today, we are going to go through several steps of preparing your space for a Qigong practice, emptying and creating space in your body, doing cleansing Qi baths and rotations, going through the healing sounds, going through the practice of Tiger Qigong, a cool down, and then time for questions. We'll also be using time for a creative prompt. So for myself, a lot of these practices are things that help inspire me as an artist and as an illustrator. And so we want to encourage you, which is why we asked to have a writing utensil and a piece of paper handy. Also for our demonstrations, even though the videos are off, we would love for you to follow along in your own space. So you can do these standing or seated, so whichever is more comfortable for you. And even though we can't see you, it would mean a lot if you do follow along with us. And so we do have time for questions at the end, but if you have questions during, definitely put it in the chat and the WOW team will be collecting them just to make sure that we can answer any of your questions. Yeah, all right, so now that we've given a little overview, I'm actually going to turn it over to my sister Lingji to talk about how we can prepare our space for practice. Lingji, you're muted.
Thanks, Singha.
No.
So I'm only 2.5 years older than Singha, but somehow in this 2.5 years, I just completely have a far inferior grip on technology. So thank you, Singha.
No way.
So the world of the Taoist is really always acknowledging the interaction of the microcosm and the macrocosm. So our internal world of experience and the elements within us reflect the external world. So when we practice Tai Chi and Qigong, we always face south. South is the element of fire, and you can see in Singha's really beautiful illustration of the meditator facing south. So maybe you already know where south is in your home or your practice space, and if not, this is your opportunity to start orienting yourself. Every phone, like if you have a basic smartphone, should have a compass app, so you can figure out where south is. Then we have metal, which is to the right, west, wood to the east, to the left, and then north, water, is to our backs. But the most important part of preparing your space is that you feel comfortable, that you feel inspired, and you feel creative. So if you already feel that way in your space, then that's perfect. This is the right way for you to practice. The next step, after we've oriented ourselves in our space, is to prepare our body for the practice. So there's a simple Buddhist mantra that Singha and I will lead you through. It's Om Na Om Cha. Om Na is to cleanse and to purify, and Om Cha is to seal and protect. So if you'll join us in this mantra to prepare for our practice, first we bring the mind and the body into harmony. And then we say this mantra, Om Na, Om Cha, 3 times to purify and seal. And now we are ready to begin our practice.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot one more thing. For the external realm,
Oh yes. Also, if you don't
Palo Santo.
change where you're going for south, you can light a candle and have that be your direction for your heart.
Exactly.
Your heart with limited alignment. Thank you so much, Lingji. All right. So now, if you have space and would like to, we'd like to invite you to do this part standing. You can also do this seated.
So after we prepare our space, we prepare our minds and our bodies for the practice, we always begin from emptiness. So we return to this primal state of emptiness with a posture called Wuji. Wuji means supreme nothing, primordial nothing. So this is before the Big Bang, before the universe began. When we stand in Wuji, we connect to the 3 realms, the earth realm, the heaven realm, and the realm of beingness. To connect to the earth realm, we find our posture, our feet are flat on the ground. So whether you're sitting or standing, make sure that your feet are on the ground and that the weight is in the center of the feet. So you can rock forward onto the toes and back until you find your center. So if you took Donna's workshop on TCM, she told us about kidney 1, which is this magic point beneath the fleshy part of the foot. Kidney 1 is how we receive energy from the earth. This is what the Chinese call bubbling spring. So you can imagine this point, kidney 1, bubbling spring, is calling to the deep waters under the earth. Through the bubbling spring, the energy from the earth rises up the legs to the hips. The hips sink to the earth. The sacrum is gently tucked, and you feel like there's a line of energy moving from your sacrum into the earth. The spine is long and straight, coming up to Bai Hui, crown chakra. Crown chakra is the tips of the ears and the line of the nose. And this is how we receive energy from heaven. So it's important that our Bai Hui is connected to heaven and not toward your computer or toward wood, east, or metal, right, but toward heaven. The shoulders are relaxed. And finally, the last two gates of the body, the center of the palms, come to the level of the heart. We relax the elbows to relax the shoulders. When the elbows are up too high, the shoulder is not relaxed. So relaxing the elbows, and you feel soft and round like you're hugging a tree. This is also called tree hugging pose. But its real name is Wu-Ji, Supreme Nothing. And here we return to the state of Supreme Nothing. We empty ourselves to invite our practice, to make space for our practice. The tongue rests at the top of the mouth behind the two front teeth. And you can relax your gaze, taking in the whole room at the same time. Or you can gently close your eyes. Take deep, long breaths. Full breaths. Slowly moving through the body, looking for any parts of tension and breathing into that part, releasing the tension.
So as you hold this pose, we're going to invite you to scan your body, moving along it for not only points of tension, but feelings, emotions, other things that might arise as you go through it. And just take note of these thoughts or feelings without judging them or trying to rationalize them. Take note of them and just make space to acknowledge that they're there. It could be things like, I have my eyes closed on a call with 50 people, or maybe other things that make you want to pick up your phone in this moment. Just acknowledge those feelings and continue down as you scan your body. All right, and now we are going to gently release. You can let your arms come back down to your sides. And without rushing, we're going to go find our writing utensil and our piece of paper. And we are going to take a minute to make note of some of those feelings or thoughts that might have arisen. So don't worry about making anything that you'll need to share. This is really just for you. And it doesn't have to be logical. It can be a shape, a word, or color. Part of why we wanted to include this is both Lingji and I use this practice from the Artist's Way called Daily Pages, and I found it can be very helpful. So check back in 1 minute. All right, so now we will set the paper and writing utensil aside, but somewhere nearby, because we will return to them afterwards. Another plug for the morning pages, I would say, this is a practice where the first thing you do is write in the morning. I really love it because it's a time to connect to what you are thinking or feeling before you are necessarily being reactive to the world. So it can be really, really lovely. Okay, so now that we have prepared our space, purified our space, and emptied ourselves for practice, we are going to go through some Qi baths, cleansing our bodies, warming it up, and getting ourselves ready. So for these, I would like to encourage you to do them standing. You can do them sitting as well. And we will be cleansing the whole body, all sides of it, with the Qi baths. So with these, Lingji, do you want to give a short explanation of what Qi is for anyone who might not know?
Qi. Qi means vital life force, cosmic life force, and it flows through everything in the universe, and it flows through the human body in channels called meridians. So Qi is actually a Mandarin word. Qigong literally means the practice of Qi, the practice of life force, the practice of breath. But our father is from the south of China, and we grew up here in Cantonese. And I really like the Cantonese word for Qi, which is hey. Because when you say hey, you have to breathe to say it. So this reminds us that we can interact with our Qi through our breath. So Qigong is the practice of breath work, the practice of life force. And Qi is breath or life force.
Thank you, Lingji. All right, with that in mind, we are now going to use our Qi or our life force to wash ourselves. So the first Qi bath we will do is washing our front. So we're going to bring our hands up and over, and now you can close your eyes if that feels more comfortable. We're going to be cleansing our face. So now don't actually touch your face. Imagine you have like a really thick, fluffy towel, and you have on really thick opera makeup like May from Thursday, and you're gently just wiping it off. And as you do this, you are cleaning also your sensory organs, your eyes, your nose, your mouth. For me, I like to think about some of the learnings from my residency, which is about removing masks. So thinking about ways that you might present yourself to others, but how if you don't remove your mask enough, you might lose sense of that is. So as you bring it, just imagine you are also visualizing removing these masks or decorations, and you can just be yourself. And bring your hands gently down the front. Now we will be cleansing the back. So bringing your hands back up and over. You can do a nice little massage of the back of your head where you have your cranium, your brain, all your thoughts, dreams. Coming down along the neck. This part, the base of the neck, is known as the jade pillow. Bring it down, back around, massaging the kidneys, down over the butt and the legs. It feels comfortable all the way down. And for our last chi bath, we will be doing the sides, so we get all of the body. So really starting back from the top, cascading down over your ears, your shoulders, sides of your body. Wonderful. Great. So now that great question. I see that May actually just asked, what is the breath like when you're doing the chi bath? We will address this in well, you can address it now. But for these, we're going to be doing prenatal breath, which is, or maybe not. We'll be breathing in through the nose, and you can breathe out through the mouth.
No, this one we don't do prenatal breath for this one.
Right. It's just normal, but through the nose still.
This one deals with the very basic principle of breath and the nature of breath. So we have this Tai Chi symbol. This is called Tai Chi, even though we know it is yin and yang because it is made of yin and yang. We have yang, lightness, form. We have yin, darkness, emptiness. Yang is exhalation and yin is inhalation. So yin, we nourish ourselves, we gather inwards, we breathe in. With yang, we give away, we exhale. So yin, breathing in, inhalation is cooling, exhaling, giving out fire. So with the chi baths, when you want to gather, you can gather chi and then slowly exhale and allow the chi to slowly bathe your body. So Singha mentioned that this is called Taoist breath, which is true, but we'll get to Taoist breath a little bit later.
Sorry, I was jumping.
No, Singha, you were right. But for now, what we can focus on is this concept of the breath, yin yang, of yin inhaling, nourishing the body, gathering, and yang exhaling, releasing.
Amazing. So now that we have done the chi baths, we're going to warm our bodies. Perhaps they're already warm if you're in an air-conditioned apartment, but we're going to do some rotations to prepare the body for movement. Lingji, do you want to explain these?
Sure. So first we begin with the head. So all movements in many practices are circular. This is the essence of the spiraling yin-yang. So in order to achieve this spiraling movement, it's important to kind of lubricate the joints of the body. So we begin with the head, placing the hands on the hip bones. And this one we lead with the eyes. So the eyes lead these circles and the head and the neck simply follow. So beginning over one shoulder, the eyes move up along the wall, across the ceiling, down the other wall, and across the floor. The eyes lead, and the head and neck follow. So the neck is long and straight as we gaze up across the ceiling. We breathe out as we move across the floor. And we breathe in as we move across the ceiling. Breathe in and out through the nose. And reverse. So moving up along the other wall, leaning with the eyes, really feeling the eyes waking up. When we practice, there has to be a harmony between the intention and the eyes. Come back to center, the head rolls up. And now we place the thumbs at the waist and the middle finger cradles the spine. So before Singha said that the top here, the bump on your neck is called jade pillow, the upper gate of the back. Here, the opposite side of the navel, this is the lower gate of the back. This is a very powerful part of the body. So we send Qi to the Mingmen, the life gate, the lower gate of the back. So you can widen your stance, wider than shoulders width, the toes still point forward. And now keeping the head in place, we don't move the head. We just rotate the hips and the waist. Yao, the waist, and Kwa, hips. We breathe out when we circle to the front, and we breathe in as we circle to the back. This is another good moment to scan the body for emotions. Many of us store emotions in this area, memories. And now we can breathe into these memories. We can release these emotions. So relax the face. When you relax the face, you relax the hips. And reverse. Breathing into the back and out to the front. Into the back and out to the front. Now bringing the feet together and keeping the knees and the feet together, we cover the knees with our hands. I'll lower my camera a little bit. So bringing the feet together, keeping the knees and feet together, and grasping the knees with the hands, then we circle the knees. So it's very important that we have warm knees for our practice. And reverse. And if you're sitting and you can't do the knee rotations, you can also rub the knees. Standing up and rotating the ankles. So here, if you can't balance, you can either hold onto a wall. If that's not available, you can rotate the ankles on the floor. But if your balance is available to you, picking up one foot and circling the ankle. And reverse. Point and flex 21 times. And the foot floats down. Now the other ankle, either circling on the floor or in the air, if you can balance. Reverse. Point and flex. And the foot floats down. So now we have completed our rotations, lubricated our joints, and now we're ready to move on to our cleansing breaths.
And
So Singha, do you want to talk about Hung Chi?
Yeah, so with the cleansing breaths, I thought this would be a really great part of the practice today, because I think breathing in general is a really important thing, but also especially with right now with so much anxiety around COVID and also a lot of just really intense environments, you might find yourself holding your breath, holding the air in, not wanting to breathe on people or breathe in. But breathing is the way that we bring air and nutrients and chi into the body. So it's very important to make sure that you're filling your lungs up really fully. With this practice, we'll be challenging ourselves to breathe in a little bit more, not in a way that's forceful or painful, but just imagine it's like stretching and getting that extra expanse. So here you'll be breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. This is probably similar to if any of you have practiced yoga, the breath is all through the nose here. And because of this, it's the nose, it acts as a filter. It's very warming. When you breathe through your mouth, you lose a lot of heat. And so for this part, we want to be breathing through the nose. So for these breaths, since they are through the nose, if you have any kind of runny nose, I'd encourage you to blow your nose first, because it is a forceful exhalation and some things could come out. But that's also okay if it does.
Good idea.
All right.
I always forget tissues. I've been practicing for so long, I never can remember, but I'm gonna blow my nose in my organic supermarket tote bag.
Amazing.
Okay.
Are you ready?
So yeah, it's important to clean the nose before. And like Singha mentioned, that in this moment where there's kind of so much fear surrounding breath, and like sharing your breath around other people, this is one way you can maintain your health. When you are cleaning your lungs, when you're in a safe environment, then you're less likely to cough when you're around other people. So these cleansing breaths, Hung Chi, like Singha said, we really challenge ourselves to use all of our lungs capacity. We normally only use 20% of our lungs capacity. So we take 3 breaths in through the nose, and we try to fill the lungs with as much air as we can. And when we exhale through the nose, we really try to squeeze out all of the air from the bottom of the diaphragm to the top of the chest. So first 3 breaths in through the nose, breathing in, breathing in, breathing in, exhale. So the very last bit, fingers circle around the thumb, breathe into the front of the chest, into the side of the chest, into the back, and out. in, and out. In, and out. Fingers wrap around the thumb. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, and out. In, and out. Breathing in, 2 hands. Breathe in, slap the bottom, exhale. Gather the chi back through the fingers to the lungs. Hands release and the palms call them back to earth. So after all of these slow ringing breaths, which are like wringing out a wet cloth, the last one is a sharp exhalation, shaking out the rug. I'll show it again. This is called Lingji. Breathing in through the nose. So we hold our breath, we scare the chi, and then sharp exhalation through the nose, sending it out through the fingertips. So this is something that's important not to do toward anyone when you're practicing in a room with other people. Directed toward an open window or toward an inanimate object, but not someone else. Is there a question, Singha, that I should take note of?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
You're saying you have amazing breath level.
I have amazing what?
Breath.
It's because I practice Qigong, and so will you. So these breaths are really to cleanse our lungs, to purify our chi. And now we're filled with all of this purified chi, and we can circulate that through the body with a Qigong called Qi Fa. So now we learn about the Taoist breath, which Singha dropped in before. Would you like to explain what Taoist breath is, Singha?
Yes, so Taoist breath thinks about the concept of prenatal breathing. So there's prenatal and postnatal breathing. Taoist breath focuses on breathing as to imitate how you breathed when you were in the womb. So maybe when you are breathing normally, when you breathe in, your belly fills, and you breathe out, your belly sinks. So with Taoist breath, as you breathe in, you want the belly to stay in, and as you exhale, the belly to come out. This feels kind of similar to some styles of singing because it really allows you to control your breath and connect with your diaphragm. This might feel strange to you, but just hold those concepts in your head as you breathe.
Exactly. So when we breathe and we contract the diaphragm, it pushes the breath up to the chest. So with this breath, we take 3 breaths in through the nose and 1 breath out through the mouth. So one question my students often ask me is, what does it mean to take 3 breaths in? So I tell them that it's the 3 initiations of breath, not just 1 long breath in and 1 long breath out. So we take 3 breaths in through the nose, 1 breath out through the mouth. And we release the belly as we exhale. And before, when I mentioned the yin-yang symbiosis of inhaling and exhaling, the breath, the lungs are like bellows. So as we breathe in, we're challenging our lungs to take in more and more and more. But if a little bit of breath sneaks out in between, this is fine, this is natural. You should never breathe in and hold your breath, breathe in and hold, breathe in and hold. This is not relaxing. So taking 3 breaths in through the nose, breathing into the chest, into the upper back. We exhale through the mouth, we release the belly and the energy descends back down to the earth. So for this Qigong, we also begin to interact with the Qi fields that are around us. And we use a gentle pathway, tracing this pathway with our fingers. So first crossing the hands in front of the dantian, the lower elixir field. Breathing in through the nose, in, exhale. Release the belly, gentle fluttering of the fingers. Breathing in, breathing in, exhale. In through the nose, in through the nose, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Breathing in, everything rises. Breathing out, everything descends.
I see there's a question in the chat about why we breathe through the nose. And part of that is because it warms the body to breathe in this way, and your nose is a natural filter. So by breathing through the nose, we keep the air warm.
Reverse. So now we put on a cloak. Breathing in, breathing in, breathing in, exhale. Breathing into the chest, into the upper chest, into the upper back, and exhale. Finish with Ping Chi. Gather the Chi back. And let the hands descend back to earth. So this Qigong Qika has circulated the purified Qi through our body. So now we're really ready to receive the benefits of our Qigong practice.
All right, so now we are going to move on to learn a little bit about a Qigong practice called the healing sound. So I will share some images about this. So healing sounds Qigong really focuses on the connection between the 5 elements and fingers in relation to organs and emotions. So as you can see in this illustration, we have the lung, spleen, heart, liver, kidney, also associated to phases or elements such as metal or gold, earth, fire, wood and wind, and water. It also connects to the idea of emotions and has a concept of incomplete emotions that then turn to complete emotions. So you'll also see on each finger there's grief, which is an incomplete emotion that becomes acceptance. I thought this was a really beautiful thing to share for this workshop, since especially, addressing in a time of an intense pandemic, how this is not something that impacts you only physically, but also emotionally. And so sharing part of this practice is really important. And it also builds off of some of the things that Donna talked about in her workshop. So the healing sounds utilize two main principles as well, mudras and meridians. Lingji, do you want us to speak a little bit to the mudras?
Sure. So, like Singha said, the healing sounds works with mudras and meridians. And mudras, which usually have been recorded in religious art, and this is one way that we can reconnect to them, also have different healing properties. So we'll see in the next diagram our Qi meridians. So the Qi, the life force, flows through the human body in different channels. And you can see here, like with the lung meridian, that it ends in the thumb. And you can see the yin meridians running along the front of the body. These are our dantians, our elixir fields, and our vital organs. And then you see the yang meridians running along the back of the body. This is our spine, our nervous system, or cerebral reality. You can see many of the meridians end in the fingers. So you probably noticed, as we did Qi Fa and the Peng Qi, we really have a very specific way we move the fingers. And this is to engage with the different Qi meridians and to target certain parts of the body through using our fingers. So here in the first diagram, you can see that each finger corresponds to a different organ and a different element. And this is related to the Qi meridian system. So the thumb is metal, the lungs. The pointer is spleen, the earth. The middle finger is heart, fire. The ring finger is liver and wood. But Chinese wood is bamboo, which is hollow inside. So this is also wind. And the pinky is kidney, which is the element of water.
Amazing. Wonderful. So we will be doing these sounds together, but before we practice these together, we'll be talking through them so you can understand a little bit about the healing sounds. So for each of them, we will be doing different sounds that correspond to these different organs. So I have a little bit of information here to let you know about what the sound is, why we do it, and the function. So for the first one, this is the healing sound for the liver. The sound is shu. And what you will be doing is taking the thumb and putting it at the base of the finger that we had associated to the liver, which is your ring finger. And I like to call this the compassion mudra. So we also talked about how the fingers are associated to emotions, both ones we might say are incomplete, such as anger, and then the complete one's compassion. So as we do this sound, we want to send qi to the liver, allow it to disperse, to detoxify that anger and let it turn into compassion. The next one we have is for the heart. The mudra that we have for this is the lotus mudra, which you can see, it's very beautiful. The sound here is ho. It's a very chest opening, beautiful noise. You can kind of let it ring out because we hold this mudra from our heart and bring it outwards. The incomplete emotion here is jealousy and obsession, but when you let it complete, it becomes love and joy. So the function of this sound is to open your chest and feel your heart, to really release that heat and really generate it around the body. The next one we have is for the spleen. The sound is fu. It's really low, so you'll hear it when we practice. But with the spleen, so in Chinese medicine, the way that we think of it is also part of the pancreas, even though they are two different organs, we like to think of them as one because of the function, which is to be able to help you absorb food while directing waste. So the mudra here is the two hands doing this movement. I don't know, Lingji, if you want to talk a little bit about this mudra.
Yes, this is a very special mudra. There are many ways to think about it. This mudra, like Singha said, is called dispelling all fear. It is also known as the supreme posture because apparently when the Buddha was born, he took 7 steps, and each step a lotus blossomed. And then he pointed to the sky and the ground and said, between heaven and earth, I am the supreme one. So this is also called supreme posture. And what it acknowledges here, between heaven and earth, is the human condition, that this realm of beingness, this realm of humanity, is caught between the psychological and the natural. So between this primal realm of manifestation, of physicality, and the ethereal realm of concept and psyche.
Beautiful. The next healing sound we have is for the lung. The sound is a hiss. It's like, and with the lung, we'll be actually using that meridian we showed you earlier as we do it. It's called drawing the bow movement, and this is the mudra that we'll be using. And the function of this is related to the emotion. So an incomplete emotion here is grief. When it is complete, it becomes acceptance. The function is taking in air, cooling, and generating homeostasis. And then the last healing sound that we have is for your kidneys. The sound is tr. The emotions here are fear, which then when it is complete is meditation. And the kidneys are associated to the phase of water, the water being associated to moisture, so life-giving essence, sexual essence. And with this one, we'll be asserting that sort of centripetal motion of moving fluid and qi through the body. Amazing. All right, so now that we have reviewed them, I'll invite you to stand or remain seated again, and we'll actually go through these together. Sneak peek.
Sneak peek to the next one. So if you're sitting for this Qigong, which you can do, what's important is that just like standing, that you have your feet flat against the ground and you find the center of your feet again and connect to the earth through the bubbling spring. What's also important is just like standing is that the sacrum is rooted to the earth. So even if you're sitting, feel this connection of your sacrum, the spine is straight, and that the crown chakra is reaching up to the sky. So finding your posture when you're seated, or if you choose to stand. Then finding your standing posture with the feet shoulders width apart. So first we begin with a compassion mudra with the liver. So with the thumb at the base of the ring finger, which is connected to the element wood and the organ, the liver. Here we hush the angry liver, and we release this anger, and we let it become compassion. We allow it to complete into compassion. So the healing sound is shu. The hands descend and return back to the hips. Again, to soothe the angry liver. One more time. Hands return to the hips. And now we move on to the heart. So coming together into this lotus mudra, Singha has a very beautiful illustration. Thumb and pointer and pinky meet. Middle finger and ring finger join at the top. So it looks like a heart. Thumb and pointer, pinky, middle finger and ring finger join at the top. And this mudra is between the breasts at the heart, and the healing sound is whole. And we really feel spaciousness. I saw this word, several people wrote spaciousness for the opening prompt, which I think is very beautiful. Here we can really connect to that feeling of spaciousness with the sound whole, where we open the heart, allowing our obsession and jealousy to be completed into joy and love. So here we celebrate the heart's fire. The hands return to the lotus mudra and gather the fire back to the heart and again. Gathering the light back to your heart. One more time. And now releasing the heart's mudra, the hands come back to the sides, and here we move on to the spleen. And this posture between heaven and earth, again, acknowledges the human existence between the natural realm, the social realm, and the psychological. The healing sound for the spleen is boo. It's very low and rumbling. I wish I could do it lower, but I just have to do the lowest I can. I encourage you to really bring out your lowest, most rumbling sound. These vibrations, as in Tibetan throat singing, are very nourishing and healing for the body. In particular, if you get really bad cramps, making these type of low sounds, these low rumbling, vibrating sounds helps a lot. The hip swings up one arm, hip swings up the other. We clap the elbow, and now reaching for both heaven and earth. Gathering, spiraling energy from heaven and earth. Return back down through the center. And reverse. Return back down through center. The hand comes down. We stay at the heart. And now taking a stance wider than shoulders width, with the knees bent over the toes and the sacrum rooted to the earth. Here, the toes are pointing out fully 5 degrees. We'll come back to this stance later. This is called drawing the bow to shoot the falcon, and it's for the lungs. So here, we massage the lung meridian while we hiss, really pressing the air through the teeth to release the grief of the lungs. So releasing the hands, mind and body come in harmony, forming the mudra, and now massaging the lung meridians and releasing the grief with this hiss. Finger gazes over the pointer. Release, come up, come back down and hiss. Release, drawing the bow to shoot the falcons. Release. And now walking the feet back to shoulders width. The final element, the element of water, the kidneys. So the kidneys are just below the ribs. And when you feel cold, the best way to warm yourself is to rub your kidneys. So here, the healing sound is chur, and you curl the tongue up. So chur, we confront our fear, our self-doubt, and then we turn this fear and self-doubt into meditation. So here we run down along the backs of the legs and return rolling up, moving up the inside of the legs. Moving all the way down to the heels, if it's available to you. Moving around the front of the feet. Come back along the inside of the legs. Slowly rolling up, tailbone first and head last. Hands move up along the body. Fingers reach to the sky. And now the elbows Bring the hands back to the kidneys. One more time, massaging the backs of the legs as we move down, the inside of the legs as we roll up. Elbows. Carry the hands back down to the kidneys. You release the hands. We gather our chi, breathing in, breathing in, breathing in, breathing out. Let the chi sink. And finish covering your navel, one hand on top of the other. Take several breaths. This Qigong is meant to harmonize our Qi flow between the organs, to harmonize our internal world of elements, to harmonize our emotions. Allow Qi to flow through every part of your body. Allow your emotions to be what they are, to be completed by the breath and the energy you send to that emotion, to that organ. And release.
Thank you, Lingji. All right, so now that we have gone through this practice, we are going to move into a lively Qigong practice. It's a tiger Qigong. So I will show you an illustration that overviews the movements, but we'll do them together. And part of the inspiration for learning this particular form was to do something that is both very protective and powerful. Especially if you are someone who doesn't feel comfortable taking up space. It can be really empowering to do something like the tiger, which is such a creature of power that's both offensive and defensive. So these will be shared in the packet later. As you can see, they're tiger people, but we'll now continue to practice together.
Great. So yeah, now it's time to wake up a little bit. Moving through the stages. So like Singha said, it's nice to take up space every now and then, especially when we are doing the work to cleanse and purify. We also need to be able to protect from others who maybe want to take this purified energy. So this Tiger Qigong works with the tiger mudra, the tiger claw. So the Taoists who created Qigong, they often left society because they were bored with the trivial affairs of court life and wanted to live in mountains or in the wilderness. And they learned many secrets of cultivating energy by observing animals. So the different palms that we use for Qigong and martial arts, first Buddha palms. Then the Buddha palms move into the dragon. They're soft, they're holding the pearl. The dragon becomes the eagle. The eagle becomes the tiger, which we work with today. Then the tiger moves into snow leopard into monkey, monkey into crane, crane into praying mantis. So today we call on this fire energy of the tiger. And you can feel already energized by this mudra. You now know that we have a lot of Qi meridians in the fingers, so we empower ourselves with the tiger mudra. So first, I'm going to teach you the very basic martial arts stance. This is called Ma Bo, horse stance. So to form your Ma Bo, I have to show you my feet. Beginning with the feet together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Knees over the toes, sacrum rooted to the earth. So what's important in this stance is that the butt doesn't come out or in, but is rooted to the earth. So this is how we stay firm and grounded, and it's called horse stance because it's like you're riding a horse. 1, 2, 3, 4, knees over toes, sacrum rooted to the earth, and by way, the point of 100 convergences, reaching up to heaven. So this is the basic stance that we will be using for the Tiger Qigong. So first, coming with your feet together, we begin with a salute to Tai Yin and Tai Yang, supreme light and dark, the sun and the moon. The right fist is the sun, Tai Yang. The left open hand is Tai Yin, the moon. Sun and moon meet at Shen, at spirit. We do 3 small circles. 1, 2, 3. Hands come down to the hips, and now open to your horse stance. 1, 2, 3, 4, knees over toes. So first we're going to do a tiger punch and learn how to strike with emptiness. So here, one fist covers the chest, the other hand comes into the tiger claw and crosses. Now pulling the bones against each other, we strengthen the bones, we strengthen our arms. The claw comes out to the side. Clear a path, and pulling this claw back sends my fist out, and my hip twists to send my fist out. So when the hip twists, this turns from Ma Bo to Gong Bo, from horse stance to archer stance. So again, when we do this faster, the claw pulling back is full, the fist moving forward is empty. I don't use any muscles in my arm. So it's like a whip. It's very deadly when you strike with emptiness. This is called Jinka. So again, from the martial arts stance, Mabo, one fist covering the chest, the tiger claw crosses, pulling the arms against each other, and open, clear the path. So the final element is to release the fist and the force with ho. And this one is very, I don't know, how would you describe it, Singha? Ho!
It's kind of just like because you're really whipping your lungs, it's an externalization of that sensation. It also feels it should feel really good to make that noise.
It does feel good to make that noise. I hope my neighbors don't say something. They were playing very loud techno earlier, and I told them to stop, and they did, which I'm very grateful for. But who knows, maybe the techno will reappear with all of this. So let's practice the other side now. The fist at the chest, tiger claw on the outside. Pulling against each other. Open, clear the paths. Both hands return to the hips. Fist, tiger claw, pull. Open, clear the path. Return to the fighting stance. Fist, claw, pull against each other. Do the same side twice. Fist, open claw, pull. And hands return to the hips. Now the next stance that we'll learn is called Black Tiger Descending the Mountain. So there's an image up here, the tiger lumbering down a mountain. So here, both hands are in the tiger fists. And we use, one hand protects the elbow. We use a spiraling energy. The spiraling energy, twisting from one side to the other. So here, my claws spiral as I twist, and now spiraling as I twist. Spiral and spiral. So the spiraling energy is the swirl of the yin-yang, primordial chaos, supreme ultimate. And when we spiral, we use this circular energy to avoid being captured. So when someone tries to grab you, you just spiral out of the way. It's like the very deadly ping pong serve. You need to spike the ping pong ball. Black tiger descending down the mountain. Now both hands return to the hips. And now we move on to cat washing its face. So again, the tiger claws, and now using the hips. The hips make figure eights, and the hips making figure eights lead the arms. This is the cat washing its face.
This is a very offensive move. Sorry, not offensive, offensive move. So if someone is attacking you, you're blocking. So we already did one with the punch and the claw, and this one now is to defend.
Doing a slower version. So really feel that the arms are moving from the hips. That this move is really this. My arms just happen to be there, but it's all coming from the hips. Block, 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 cat washing its face. And one thing that's very important when you're in your horse stance, make sure the knees don't come in or collapse. Always make sure you have this feeling that the horse is beneath you, that your legs are expanding, that there's chi, a ball of chi between your legs. This will keep you from injuring your knee. So it's very important to make sure your knee is over the toe and that your legs aren't collapsing. So just after the cat washes his face, he claws at the threads of the universe. So pulling, clawing the threads of the universe. Return. Breathe in and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Bring the hands back to the hips. And now the tiger holds up the sky. So breathing in, now he claws the sky. Breathing out, hands return to the hips. Breathing in and out. In and out. In and out. In and out. So just as cat washing its face is the hips, moving the arms, holding up the sky is the spine. The spine moves and the arms follow. This is the double helix of our DNA. And now the hands return to the hips, walking the feet in, toe, heel, and again salute Tai Yin and Tai Yang, sun and moon. 3 circles, from west to east. Return to Shen, move down to Qi, and finally to Jing. Hands release, gather the Qi, breathing in, breathing in, breathing in, and out. So this is the Tiger Qigong, where we can call on the totem of the tiger. We can call on this energy, on this strength, to empower ourselves and to protect our space after we have done all of this work to heal ourselves, which is the first step toward healing others. We also need to be able to protect ourselves, to claim that space, to find this ground, the center, your connection to earth.
So
Maybe
now,
this is too much. but I'm going to share it anyway, so sorry, Singha. When Singha was little, she you had her own fighting technique called Dragon Claw, but it was basically the tiger claw, and she would use it on me and my older sister when we would bully her. So she's a natural master.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Singha.
Okay, my favorite is snow leopard, but I'll take it. So now that we have gone through Tiger Qigong, hopefully you're feeling really good and really warm. We'll do a quick cool down, just another chi bath and body scan. So we'll repeat what we did last time. So we'll return to Lingji. Lingji, would you like to lead this again? This is going back to...
I really love how you do the chi baths.
No, okay, fine. So yeah, so we'll return to the chi baths, which we did earlier. So remember gathering your chi and envisioning to hold it. You're holding very clean, fluffy towel as you disperse that chi down your front, over your face. Maybe as you go, noticing if your body feels different than it did earlier. Now we'll return again. Going for the back of the head. You have your brain, nervous system, your thoughts, dreams. Massaging the jade pillow. And down on the sides. Back over, passing the kidneys. And last for the sides. So coming back up, gathering the chi as you inhale. And exhaling.
And now we'd like to finish as we opened with a Buddhist mantra. So this mantra is to the great medicine Buddha. We pray to the great medicine Buddha to cure us of all illnesses and to do away with harm. We call on the medicine Buddha to do away with the great illness of ignorance. So here is the Sanskrit, and you're welcome to join along. I will lead us through this mantra. The great medicine Buddha, to cure us of all illness, including the illness of ignorance. So again, mind and body meet in harmony in front of my heart. Om Namo Bhagavate Vesaje Guru Veduya Pradarapaya Tadayataya Arhate Samyak Sambudaya Taryata Om Vaisaje Vaisaje Maha Vaisajay Vaisechara Samudrate Svaha. And now gather the light into your heart. And we make a small offering to the three realms. In our practice, we reconnect to the vital cosmic life force that is always there for us, that is us, so we can heal and nourish ourselves. And we can share this healing and nourishment with our loved ones and our community. So we offer back one drop of our essence to the three realms. We offer one drop of our essence to the celestial realm. And one drop of our essence to the earth realm. And finally, we offer one drop of our essence to all sentient beings throughout time and space. Thank you so much. We now will open the space for discussion, questions and answers, and to Yuki's closing.
Yes. And I would encourage any of you, if you want to take a minute to make note of how you're feeling now, to return to your paper as well, and just sort of make a mark and memory.
As we open up space too, I encourage folks to unmute themselves, maybe flash up a reaction or message me, and I'll pass the virtual mic to you.
Sounds good.
I see Lauren. You can go ahead and unmute yourself. Or maybe not. I also have Vivian. Do you have a question you want to share or a comment?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing this and for the sense of calm. This was so amazing. And I was wondering if you had any recommendations for if we wanted to continue this practice outside of the space.
Thank you. Lingji, do you want to lead with some recommendations?
So I think that personally the best way to continue your practice is to find a human teacher. That being said, it's different times now. But traditionally, Qigong is meant to be practiced outside so you can engage with the elements of nature. So hopefully there are teachers who are still able to practice outside. I also know that I'm very lucky, and one of the pivotal reasons I live in Berlin is because we have many wonderful parks, so it's something that is possible for me. My first recommendation would be to find a teacher, a living teacher, and to practice with them. My other word of advice would be through reading the Tao Te Ching. I think beginning with this root of Taoism will help you to also kind of embody the spirit of Qigong. But I think there as well, if practicing with a human teacher outside is not available, there are many teachers who are teaching online. There are also some pretty decent Qigong videos you can follow along. But I think the best is to have a human transmission when possible.
And we can also share some book lists after the session, including some ones that Lingji referenced earlier.
Any other questions? Feel free to unmute yourself.
Hi, this is Edan. I just chatted in the chat. I would love to hear more about either of your practices and how you've been moving Qigong's kind of patriarchal history and teachings into more feminist, and also keeping in accordance to the original values, but how you're translating that to the current modern times we're living in, especially immersed in urbanism and technology. Yeah, I would love to just hear your thoughts on that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I will pass this to you again, Lingji, since you are an active teacher and practitioner. Yeah.
All right. So yes, deconstructing the patriarchal lineage of Qigong. So there's one text which also I guess we can add to the document and share with you for after the workshop, that for me was really pivotal in understanding what my practice meant to me. And this text is by Audre Lorde, self-described Black lesbian feminist poetess, warrior. And she lived in New York and also Berlin. And this text that she wrote is called Uses of the Erotic. The Erotic is Power. And this text, she writes about how through this deep source of knowledge, which is spiritual and profoundly feminine, comes this ancient wisdom, which can help us to navigate through our lives, to empower ourselves, and to acknowledge how much joy and how much we're capable of feeling and not to settle for less. And when I read this text, I really understood that the foundation of revolution and empowerment, in particular for women, is reconnecting to the erotic, is reconnecting to this deep oceanic consciousness, this feminine consciousness, and allowing that to ground us and work as a compass. So I think with Qigong, when you do these practices where you return to your center, where you connect to yourself, you can feel yourself and you listen to yourself, you find your truths, you find your reality, and it's a little bit less hard for others to rewrite your reality. So when we live in a patriarchal society, we constantly have men in our lives. I don't like using this men and women gender binary, but living in a patriarchal society, there seems to be one narrative, and this dominant narrative can often rewrite our own truths. And this is why Singha said it's important to do morning pages. As soon as you wake up, just writing down everything that's on your mind, whether it's very banal or whether it's extremely profound, without judgment, writing down everything to reconnect to yourself and your truths. So that's really strong. So I would say that for me, this like reconnecting to self is something that is integral in redefining Qigong as a feminine practice, learning to listen to our bodies and to be critical and to be critical and to be analytical of a practice that has been passed through a patriarchal lineage. And I feel very lucky, and I think it's my karma and my privilege that my father is my teacher. So I have the audacity to maybe criticize and question and analyze what he teaches me, where many women who are carrying this patriarchal lineage, out of respect, do not question the teachings. And even though they're women, they continue to pass along a practice with a very masculine focus. Singha's work, from my perspective, also deals a lot with the same elements as my work. Her focus, though, and her form of expression at the moment is through oil painting, but it's the same elements.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the references and also morning pages, both are such powerful tools for reflection. And I'm just so grateful to be here in this space with everyone, but also thank you for what you've shared today.
Thank you so much for being here and for sharing with us.
I got one more hand raised. So I think I'll pass it to Naomi real quick before I close out.
I want to say thank you. This was so beautiful. I've been doing martial arts for like 12 years, and the practice that I have has Qigong in it. And just, there are women in the system, but it is a very male-dominated system. So seeing the two of you and sisters practicing this through your family is really beautiful. And I also wanted to say that I feel like I'm floating, but that I also feel all of my organs, and like I feel my visceral humanity. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing. It's interesting to think about your organs just as parts of your body, not because there's anything wrong, like not an ailment, but just to remember that they're always there, and connecting to them is really, it's really cool.
All right. Thanks so much for your questions and your comments, everyone. So now we'll transition to our closing time. I'll begin though by saying that I feel very aligned right now, and I'm feeling a really strong sense of gratitude for Lingji and Singha. So I was wondering if maybe people could put how they're feeling and anything else they want to share in the chat, and just get their voices out there. I know we've been doing it already, and that's been very grounding and special to witness already in these last 15 minutes. Yeah, thank you so much, Lingji and Singha. Again, I'm kind of at a loss for words. This was really beautiful and grounding, and just has made me feel spacious. I like that word when I saw it earlier too. Next, I want to thank our interpreters, Lucy and Bob. Thank you so much for all your time and energy these past 2 hours. This program could not have happened without you. Thank you for helping us practice language justice. For our WOW team, May, Nisma, Joy, Bonnie, Kristen, and the other WOW fam, I saw you in the participant section. Much love to everyone. Thank you today. This program came together so beautifully and wonderfully because of all the love and energy you put into it, and all of our programs we put on this summer. I'll end with a reminder that we are fundraising for a total of $50,000. And just speaking for myself today and every day I'm at WOW shows me what it feels like when community is created, and how empowering and healing that kind of learning and nurturing can be, especially when we do it together. So I hope you'll consider donating and amplifying our campaign. You can find more information in our Support Us tab or on our website or Facebook. Yes, please share widely and donate if you feel so inclined. Next, we have feedback forms. We can put a link in the chat right now, but we'll also send out an email. We would love to hear your feedback. We always want to be accountable to our community, and we're always looking for ways to do better and grow. So yeah, and then please come to our last programs of the month. We have an amazing open mic put on by our amazing, I'm using that word too much, but incredible interns next Friday, July 17th. with featured artists and presenters, including poets Franny Choi, Kay Olunde Barrett, and healers from the NYC POC Healing Circle, along with organizers from the Black School and many, many more. And we have a final celebration on July 25th we would love folks to tune into as well. You can find more information on our Facebook and Instagram. Have a wonderful Saturday, everyone. I hope we can carry on this beautiful, abundant energy into our weekends. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Mm-hmm.